What if the entire global economy, every market, every currency, every government is just one giant financial pyramid? A structure built not on gold or productivity or even logic, but on trust, leverage, and a magnificent illusion. Look around you. Nations are drowning in debt. Companies worth billions have never made a single dollar of profit. People are buying houses they can't afford with money that doesn't really exist, from banks that don't actually own it. It all feels stable until someone whispers the same question asked at the base of every pyramid. What happens when the flow of new money stops? To understand this game, we have to travel back in time to the origin of all financial pyramids. Centuries ago, in a world of coins and gold, money meant tangible value. If you held gold, you held real power. But gold was heavy, slow to move, and finite. So bankers came up with a brilliant idea: paper promises. Certificates backed by gold that were easy to carry and trade. People trusted them, and that trust became the foundation for something new: credit. Then came the next layer of the illusion. Banks quickly realized they could issue more paper promises than the gold they actually held. Not a 1-to-1 ratio, but maybe 10-to-1. As long as only a few people demanded their gold back at the same time, the system worked perfectly. And just like that, the first financial pyramid was born, built on confidence, not on metal. Fast forward to the 20th century. The world abandoned the gold standard altogether. Now, money itself became a promise backed, not by anything tangible, but by government decree. This is what we call fiat money, value by command. We were told it was progress. In reality, it was just the next evolution of the illusion. From that moment on, economic growth no longer depended on creating real value, but on expanding credit. Debt became the new gold. The more we borrowed, the richer the world appeared. Governments borrowed to build infrastructure, corporations borrowed to expand, and citizens borrowed just to live their lives. And the pyramid grew higher and higher. Every level depends on the one below it. Workers support consumers. Consumers support companies. Companies support banks. Banks support governments. And what do governments do? They support everyone by printing more promises whenever cracks appear in the foundation. It's an elegant system. It's efficient. And it is incredibly dangerous. Because in every pyramid, the illusion only lasts as long as new money is flowing in. The moment that inflow slows down, the entire structure begins to tremble. We've seen this happen before. In 1929, the pyramid of market speculation collapsed. Stock prices vanished into thin air. Banks failed. Millions of people lost everything. Governments responded with regulation, stimulus, and eventually, a world war. Then came the recovery, and the building of a new, taller pyramid began all over again. In 2008, the pattern repeated itself. This time the pyramid was built on housing debt. Banks sold mortgages to people who couldn't possibly pay them back. They packaged these toxic loans into complex bonds. And those bonds were sold to investors around the world who blindly trusted the AAA rating stamped on them. It worked beautifully until the first cracks appeared in the foundation of the American housing market. When the bottom fell out, the entire global financial system trembled once more. Governments printed trillions of dollars. Central banks slashed interest rates to zero. And once again, the pyramid survived, rebuilt on a base of debt even larger than before. Each crisis just resets the game. It never ends it. The debt grows, the layers get higher, and the illusion becomes too big to fail. Some call it an economic miracle. Others call it a trap. Because the modern economy requires constant expansion to survive. More borrowing, more consumption, more belief. If you stop the flow, everything collapses. It's not really a system of wealth, it's a system of motion. And it's the motion, not the underlying value, that keeps it alive. Think of it this way. You earn a paycheck. You spend it at a store. The store pays its suppliers. The suppliers pay their workers. Those workers pay their rent. The landlord pays the mortgage to the bank. The bank then lends that money out again. It's a circle that spins endlessly until someone somewhere stops spending. Then the pyramid pauses. And fear begins to set in. That's why governments fear deflation, falling prices more than anything. When people start saving instead of spending, the flow of money stops. When banks stop lending, credit dies. And when credit dies, the pyramid loses its magic. So what do? They do whatever it takes to keep the motion going. They lower interest rates, they print more money. They stimulate, subsidize, and spend. They have to because the only alternative is a complete collapse. The logic feeds on itself. Every new dollar has to be created just to pay the interest on the last one. Every government rescue creates an even larger bubble for the future. Every safety net just becomes another layer of the same unstable structure. And the world watches in silence, pretending that all of this is perfectly normal. But here's the twist: the pyramid isn't inherently evil. It's just human. It's built on our most basic emotions: hope, ambition, and fear. These are the same emotions that have driven every market boom and bust since the beginning of trade. History shows this pattern clearly: the Dutch tulip mania, the South Sea bubble, the dot-com boom of the late 90s, the crypto craze. Different eras, different assets, but the exact same psychology. People see others getting rich, fear missing out, and jump in. They tell themselves, this time is different. It never is. Every bubble grows from the belief that prices will always go up, that risk has been eliminated, that the pyramid can climb to the sky forever. And every collapse begins the moment that belief starts to fade. But here's what makes today different from any other time in history. For the first time, the pyramid is global. All currencies are connected. All markets are intertwined. A shock in one country instantly ripples through them all. There's no safe haven anymore. The whole world is sitting on the same foundation. In 2020, a virus shut down the entire planet. The flow of money froze solid. The global pyramid trembled like never before. And how do we save it? By printing more promises than at any point in human history. Trillions of dollars created overnight. Money from nothing poured into everything. Stocks soared. Debt exploded. And the illusion was revived once again. But every rescue comes at a cost. Each new layer of debt makes the next crisis even more dangerous. Each bailout pushes the risk further up the pyramid. And at the very top, the air is getting dangerously thin. So, what happens next? Does the pyramid finally collapse, or does it evolve into something new? That depends entirely on one thing: trust. As long as people believe the system will hold, it does. When that belief fades, no amount of printed money can save it. Maybe the next evolution won't be destruction, but transformation. Maybe new technologies like digital currencies, blockchain, or decentralized finance will rebuild trust from the ground up. Or maybe they'll just create a new kind of pyramid, one that's virtual, faster, and even taller than the last. Because in the end, the structure always seems to return. People crave shortcuts to prosperity. Governments crave control. Banks crave profit. And every time the base begins to crumble, someone finds a clever new way to rebuild it. Perhaps the real question isn't whether the world economy is a pyramid. Perhaps it's whether we even know how to live without one. Because these pyramids, financial or otherwise, tell a deeper truth about human nature. We build them because we want stability. We climb them because we want more. And we defend them to the end because we are terrified of the fall. But the higher they rise, the more fragile they become. One day, the flow of new money will slow, confidence will fade, and the illusion that endless growth can last forever will finally meet reality. What happens then? Maybe a great reset. Maybe chaos. Maybe a painful rebirth. But one thing is certain: every pyramid, no matter how vast, begins with a single, simple promise. And when that promise is finally broken, the entire structure falls. The world economy stands tall today, glittering, powerful, and proud. But deep beneath its shining layers lies the same fragile truth that has always been there. It is not built on wealth. It's built on belief. And belief, once it's lost, can never be printed back into existence. Thanks so much for watching. If this made you think, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos that question the world around us. See you next time.